I'm Dustin, Prince of Aphotic Realm, and this is Bo, my indie author friend.
Fabulous powers will be revealed to you the day we hold aloft our mics and say,
I have the geekdom!
Geek-Men and the Masters of the Thunder Nerds.
Thunder Nerds! Ho! Hello and welcome to another episode of Geek-Men and the Masters of the Thunder Nerds. I'm Dustin.
I am Bo.
And this is the podcast that talks about all the things you love.
Without all the hate.
That is right. Today we have a special guest. Take it away, Augie.
Hi, I'm Augie Peterson. I'm a horror author, and I am also a podcaster.
Yay.
And I do a lot of stuff.
And we're so glad you're here.
Yes.
Because we've been wanting you to be on the show for a while now.
I know. I'm so excited.
It's going to be fun.
Excited. Yes.
Hooray!
So, what is it, what's going on? What's going on right now? Have you seen anything going on in the news? What have you been up to?
Well, I've not been in the, frame of mind to think of a whole lot of new stuff lately, but the biggest thing I think that's sticking out is the release of the movie Glass. I haven't seen it yet, but I really, really want to.
Yeah.
And I'm very, very excited to see how that universe progresses.
Same here.
I fell in love with Unbreakable when my dad showed me that movie years ago. And then when I saw the cutscene at the end of Split, I lost my mind.
Mm-hmm.
So for that all to come together, I just think a world in which mental and physical disabilities are kind of celebrated in a sense is just kind of what the world needs right now. So it's just really exciting that that's actually happening and that's a thing, you know?
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
I'm really stoked about that.
That was an interesting point that you brought up. I never really thought about it that way, that they kind of celebrate, disabilities and kind of mental illnesses and stuff in such a way.
Mm-hmm. I always love that about even when I watched Unbreakable, I was just like, oh my gosh, this guy's a bad guy, but he's also inherently weak and he doesn't have a lot going for him except his mind, and we're scared of him like he's just any other comic book villain. And then when it came to Split, the whole split personality thing really added to the drama of the movie. It was the whole movie, obviously, but
yeah,
it's just so interesting. It's an interesting take because superheroes and supervillains are always people with superpowers, and they're always better than everyone else. But these guys are just kind of like everybody else.
Yeah,
they're just people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely seems like a more realistic possibility of things.
Mm-hmm.
Just like Elijah the movie was saying, it's superheroes are just an exaggeration of the truth,
Yep.
Bright and colorful, but there are things that it could add. Really cool. And
I learned about that. Do you know that scene in the first one where, his son's trying to shoot him to prove that he's... I had learned recently that was something that actually happened.
What?
A kid came up to George Reeves, who played Superman.
Yeah.
And he had a loaded gun, and he was going to. He wanted to shoot him just to see the bullet bounce off of him.
Oh my god!
Yeah, and George Reeves actually talked him down. He got the gun off of him.
That's
in
wild.
character as Superman.
Wow!
He convinced the guy.
He probably used that line that it's not nice to shoot your.
No, here's the beauty of it. He convinced the kid. He's like, you know what's going to happen? The bullet's going to bounce off me, and it's going to hit somebody here in the audience, and it's going to hurt them.
Oh, jeez.
And he's like, so you should give me that gun and all that stuff. He talked the kid down. I was like, that's a cool, calm cat.
Wow.
That's wild. That's really cool.
Yeah,
A good nugget.
Yeah, that's some some good trivia.
And good writing. The fact that you just, again, are weaving in more things that are based in reality.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Shyamalan got a lot of slack, for he had a bit of that, that downward slope with Avatar and stuff. I think he's on his upswing.
I think that's the beauty of making all of them into a series, though.
Yeah.
Is that, because now you want to go back and watch them all over again, like 2 or 3 different times to make sure you pick everything up that might be happening in the next movie and stuff like that. So I think that's a genius move on his part.
Yeah, I don't think Split had much of a twist, though.
Yeah,
maybe you might have considered the reveal of the Beast because it was, talked about another personality, of this Beast. There's just no such thing.
And it's interesting in that movie. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, and, that's bulletproof and has all this hair, and there's limits to what a human can do. That's what the therapist was arguing. And then I suppose that could be considered a twist.
Yeah, the more I think about it, though, I don't think that was actually the twist in that movie. I think the twist in that movie was us finding out the nature of the relationship between the main character and her uncle. Is it her uncle? Something like that?
Yeah.
I think that was the twist of that movie. Like, it had nothing to do with the main villain because what's going to happen. Like, they mention the Beast the whole time.
Yeah.
So that's going to happen. But with these flashbacks that she keeps having, that, I think, kind of revealed itself as the main twist that was like, oh, okay, now she can defend herself because she's having these horrible flashbacks. And she's also, suffering from PTSD and anxiety and things like that. And she's using it to make her stronger. And she can actually handle this Beast thing that no one else seems to be able to control.
Yeah, I think he said it was that she was...
Yeah.
It's the damage that makes you pure or elevates you. Or...
Yeah.
See, what's funny for me is the biggest twist is that it's the revelation that is set in that universe.
Yeah.
That they kept that secret.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have all these different perspectives. You had all these multi-twists.
Yeah. True.
He had some substance there. That's good though.
Yeah, that was, and it was a post-credit thing, so you could say that was the fact that it's, guess what? It's in the Unbreakable universe.
Yeah.
So
you didn't like the twist I put in the movie? Here's a twist now.
Yeah.
Can I get I don't know if we're giving away too much industry stuff. We sent you in a question for your podcast.
Oh yeah.
Can we get an elaborated answer?
Oh no. Okay. I have. It's kind of like something I wasn't trying to publicize, but since you asked and since it's gonna come out eventually, I should probably just say it because it's weird and people judge you for it really hardcore. Yes. But this is a no hate podcast, so if people judge me for it, they shouldn't be listening to this podcast.
Exactly.
I am a brony.
Oh,
I watch
cool.
My Little Pony, and I really love it. And I haven't caught up on most recent episodes for quite a while, but I do love the universe. And my friends and I really got into it when I was in college, and I just fell in love with all the characters and the humor and yada yada. So that's the one thing people would not expect me to geek out about, but I totally do.
Who's your favorite?
Oh God. Probably Pinkie Pie, because I can relate to her the most.
I was actually going to say Pinkie Pie.
Yeah. Oh, it's weird. I have this bubbly personality or something. Yeah, she's my favorite.
Have you made your own?
I have.
Yes. Good.
Nice.
I used to be an Irish dancer, and so I made her green with navy blue hair, and her name is Soft Shoe.
Soft Shoe. You used to be an Irish dancer?
I did, yes. I was when I was little.
Nice.
That's adorable.
Thing that I ever did. I loved it so much. I wish that I could do it now, but I don't have any time to do it.
Yes, I know that.
Yeah.
Plus, I can't help but notice that your initials on Skype is AU, which is gold.
I am amazing.
It all lines up. Tell me I'm wrong. You can't.
No, no. You are totally right.
I don't even know what to say to that.
I don't
You
either.
can't. There's nothing.
Oh,
Augie's a leprechaun.
oh,
That's the connection you were making. I'm like, yeah, I'm gold. Am I Midas? Like, what?
It's that we don't know the scale. We've only seen
That's
video.
true.
You could be in like a little shoebox.
You're right.
you were in a tiny little hut
tiny cat.
on the Grey Rooms podcast.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, if you watch the Behind the Door episode, I was in my studio. So how do you know that's not where I live all the time?
Yeah.
That's where I am right now.
Your cat took you and your cat. The little antics took the show. By the way, it was hilarious.
Yeah, it was hilarious.
Oh my god! And I kept dropping the phone. I felt so bad.
That was the funny part. That was the great part. Made it worth watching.
I appreciate you guys tuning in to
Oh,
see
it's
the
great.
idiocy that is my social interaction skills.
I think everyone's there at some point in their time, at every waking moment of their lives.
I certainly hope so. Except for the extroverts. They're always on, and they're always just great people. I don't know how they do it.
Yeah. You'd be surprised. Behind closed doors, they're really probably or something. So, there's that.
That's true. It balances out.
It all does in the end.
Mm-hmm.
You heard it here first. You're all terrible people.
And there goes half your subscribers.
Well, we only have 2, so...
Oh, well.
Dustin knows your sins.
So, which one of us is leaving, Bo? Because we're our only 2 subscribers. No, I'm just
I don't know.
Podcast?
I'll say I'm offended since you said it.
Well, it is what it is.
True that.
Oh, man. My face hurts. Still laughing about the gold thing.
Augie's gold.
Let's hear about some of the other things you like. You said you podcast, but you have multiple podcasts, right?
Well, I have one podcast, but I do 2 different things. I have multiple blogs that I can put into a podcast. So yeah.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit.
Okay, so everything that I do can be found on augiepeterson.wordpress.com. And if you go there, you're going to see links to anything that I do, like my other blog, which is called Snark in the Dark. And the blog that augiepeterson.wordpress.com takes you to is called The Short Stories of Augie Peterson, which is also the name of my podcast. Actually, it's just called Short Stories of Augie Peterson because I found that if you put "the" in the name of your podcast, it's kind of lost in the rest of the world that has "the" in the first name. And I actually took out the, and I saw a spike in downloads. So, fun fact for anybody who wants to get into podcasting. Yeah. So on every other Tuesday, I read an original short horror story that I've written. And those short horror stories are also posted every other Friday on my blog, or every Friday. I just kind of post them when I post them. It's usually on Fridays. Today, actually, I posted a creepy story that happened to me in real life. So sometimes that happens on my blog when I am out of ideas for stories. And then I also have another blog called Snark in the Dark, and that is where I review really bad horror movies from streaming services. Nice. And it's so much fun because, it's pretty much the exact opposite of this podcast, where I take pleasure in tearing apart the really bad movies that are on this. I've just done so many, and it's so much fun. And at the same time, I'm not trying to hate on people who make movies. I do find the positives, and there are some that I'm surprised by. But that's the majority of what I do. And review episodes on my podcast come out every other Thursday. So everything is on my blog, and then I post an episode every week on my podcast. And then for the first Saturday of every month, I feature some independent artists that I think the world should know about. And I put them all into this super episode that comes out the first Saturday of the month. All the interviews are posted on my blog during that first week of the month, the first full week. And then in the episode, I have like stories. I think, Bo, I read one of your stories, and that was really awesome.
And you did a good job.
That was a fun one because I hadn't read it until I read it for the podcast, and then I had a pretty intense reaction to it that I put in the bloopers after it. That was intense. So there was that, and then I also do YouTubers that I'll play some of their narrations on my podcast. If I also do artists sometimes, and I'll do like a verbal description of their art, and I post a bunch of stuff on Instagram for information. I do a lot. I also have books and stuff, so there's a lot going on.
Yeah. That's exactly what we wanted to hear. It's like I looked at all you were about, and I'm like, man,
yeah,
you really do a lot.
I do a lot. Yeah.
She's a machine.
Now, my current work in progress is a Choose Your Own Adventure podcast episode. I wrote it as my special for Halloween last year, but because at the time I was going through something really intense, I didn't have time to edit the podcast to put it out on Halloween like I wanted to. So now I've been working on one episode for an entire week because I want to make it sound really good. So it's like the audio got edited in like one day, but now I'm putting in all the music and the sound effects and stuff to kind of set the scene so it comes across really awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm extremely excited about that. That should probably be out sometime next week, but I've been working really, really hard on that. And then I'm going to go on a little bit of a hiatus so I can plan stuff, because I'm really bad at planning stuff, and actually get episodes out when they're supposed to come out rather than like 3 days late because I had to work a stupid shift on a day I didn't expect. So yeah, that's my life right now.
Well, look below. We'll definitely have links to everything. Yep. Well, if your Choose Your Own Adventures out by the time we put this out, it'll probably be available. So
yeah,
go ahead and start choosing your own adventure.
Choose a way.
Choose a way.
The actual story itself was about 40 pages long. So I kind of wrote a novel accidentally.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So,
intense.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. That was it.
Oh, I was just going to ask you for Snark in the Dark. Do you only do horror stuff, or have you done other movies? Just any B movie?
I primarily do horror. I find that gets done the worst, as horrible as that sounds.
Well.
Because it's so easy to cross that line of blood and guts, and psychological horror can only go so far as the writer's imagination can take it. So like, I've seen movies like The Terrifier that are just blood and guts and gore the entire time, and they don't really have a story. Yeah. And then there's other movies like this one called #horror that has too much story, and it's trying to be like an art piece at the same time, and it's doing too much. But then there's some movies that other people have said are really bad, but then turn out to be really good in my perspective, like the movie Creep. I loved that movie. And
Creep is so good.
Oh my God. It wasn't like, I don't know, it was the story, but it was mostly the way that What's-His-Face is interacting with the camera like it's his kid, and it just makes you feel so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And that was what I loved most about that movie. So that one kind of surprised me. And then I recently did some foreign films. I did one where it happened in Finland, and it was about Santa Claus being a 50-foot horned monster that was encased in ice, trying to steal a bunch of kids with a legion of naked old men. And you would think
same old story.
I know, right? You'd think that would be kind of a weird movie to watch, and while it was weird, it was also amazing. So I am pleasantly surprised sometimes, and at other times I take the piss out of them. So yeah.
Well, I was going to suggest one for you.
Oh, go for it.
If you have Prime, check out Guardians. It's like this Russian. It's the Russian Avengers, but not.
I remember seeing the trailer for that.
Yeah, the trailers actually look like incredible. Like in like this B movie, like It looks like this Russian B-movie adventure thing. It looks awesome.
Wow.
There's like this crazy wolf bear man thing, and it
looks like a super ninja or something,
Yeah.
right?
there's like weird like cyborg things going on, and it looks fun. And I actually heard that it was pretty cool, but it was a B movie.
Yeah.
But but it was good. But judge for yourself.
There are some that I don't review because they're so bad they're good. Like, a couple of people recommended that I watch the movie Zombievers.
Yes.
And that one I could not review because I loved it.
Really?
I loved everything about that movie. And I couldn't in good conscience take that movie and just destroy it like I do some of my other ones, because there was nothing to destroy. It was so bad it was good. Oh my god, I love that movie.
Oh, my one buddy's been trying to get me to watch that for years.
That's so good.
He's
I
like, "You
have a
gotta watch this movie."
recommendation, but I can't say it on air.
Is it zombie strippers?
No, because you could say that, but I'm going to probably. I got to debate on whether or not to actually bleep that out. Cheaper thing, but no, I'll say it. Maybe if you're a patron, you'll get to hear it. But I'll throw that suggestion. I don't even know if you could find it, because that was the only time I ever seen it. It was on like a really crappy streaming service. But just the title, I was like, why is there a movie called this? And then I clicked on it and I was like, why is this made?
That happened to me once with an anime. My friend was trying to get me into anime. And
Slippery slope.
Yep, yeah.
it's kind of one of those things. They're like, here, watch this one. So I take it home, put it in. I was really tired, and it's this topless girl starts walking through these flames, and I'm just like, what is going on? But I was reading, trying to figure out what was going on, and again, like I said, I was tired, fell asleep immediately as I was trying to read the subtitles. I don't even remember what it was. The narration was happening. Wake up to see one dude fly through the air, swing a sword, and then catch a head, which I later found out to be was his brother's head, and he was cradling his brother's head, crying, and that was roll credits.
Oh my lord.
And I'm just like, what just happened?
So Pokemon the movie too.
I didn't even try to go back and watch it. I just took it back. They're like, yeah, so what'd you think? It was pretty good, huh? And I'm just like, yeah, it was pretty good. And
It exists.
It exists. It's something, all right. I don't even remember what the movie was called, but man, that one was. I just was like, naked anime girl narrating, walking through flames to slice brother's head off, cradling, crying it. What? Okay, all right, I'm done.
Anime. That's a tough one. It's either really strange or it's like really boring. I mean, not boring. I don't mean boring. I just mean like it's a basic storyline, or it's like intense.
Yeah, I saw one that scarred me for life. I think it was Sin City, or no, Wicked City. Wicked City.
Yeah.
Have you seen it, Augie?
I have not. No, I'm not into anime as much as I'd like to be.
Yeah. Okay. Wicked City. It was actually a good movie. There was like this, like, it was almost like this Black Widow type woman who would seduce people back to their hotel or their house or whatever, and then would feed off of them. But the mouth that she would eat them up with, gobble them up with, was in her.
Oh God.
So, next thing you know, it's like, and she walked like a spider on her hands and legs, and then led with her and it's snapping away with these teeth, and after it snapped his off, he's screaming, and then she crawls up onto the ceiling and then leaps out of the balcony, and I'm screaming.
Go on.
I'm like,
oh my gosh.
I'm like,
I mean, You meet someone who says they've seen everything, you show them that anime, and they'll be wrong.
Yeah.
You gotta start off with the classics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Start with the classics.
Basket.
Like Wicked City.
Work your way in. I highly suggest Trigun. It's fantastic.
My first anime that I actually sat down and watched start to finish was Full Metal Alchemist.
Nice.
So,
Yeah, I've been trying to get into that because it's on Netflix.
Alchemist? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say I've been trying to get into that, but I always watch Netflix right before I go to bed, and I very rarely want to read the captions, and I'm not about to watch dubbed, so.
Oh, a purist.
A wild purist has appeared.
I actually watched the because the voice actors for the original were actually really good. For the original Full Metal Alchemist was good.
Yeah, I do like their voices. I'll be damned if I'm watching. I'll be missing Steve Bloom out of Cowboy Bebop. I'll tell you that. Kill to have that man's voice.
I actually haven't watched Cowboy Bebop yet.
What's so good?
It's pretty good. I watched part of it, but I'm not into like action. I don't know. I prefer to read it, honestly, because when I first started getting into manga and anime and all that, I was reading it. So I don't even remember what the first one I read was called. It was something about elementals and ladies, something like that. And then I read Ouran High School Host Club and Fruits Baskets. So that's what I started out with, and I read it. And then I read Kingdom Hearts, and I read FMA, and it was great. And then I watched the anime, and like it wasn't as good as it was while I was reading it. So I would prefer to read it. And then when it came to the anime, I'm like, well, I mean, this is easier, but I'm also still reading it. So is it really the same or is it different? And I don't know what I like anymore.
Existential anime crisis.
Yeah, exactly. The most recent one I tried to watch was, and now I completely forget the name. It was something with like this girl who was a robot, and it's on Netflix. Something about Rose, with Rose in the name. Oh, I don't remember. It was really good. Anyway. Never mind.
Well, if you're watching Brotherhood,
Yeah.
I heard that's really close to a lot closer to the manga. It's like word for word in some places. So I think watching and read subtitled or reading it subbed would be just as good as, or would be like just like you're reading. You know what I mean?
I had heard the same thing.
So, but the original FMA is similar but different enough that you might find new enjoyment, because there are some changes to the classic manga.
I'll have to give it another try then.
Not Brotherhood. I'm talking about the classic.
Brotherhood. Oh, the original.
Yeah, the original one is different from the manga. The manga is uncle to Brotherhood.
Oh, I gotcha.
Those two are very close.
There's just so much I have to catch up on anime-wise.
There is. There's so much. It's just like you sit down to watch something, it's like, I'm lost now. I don't know where to start.
Exactly.
Stop making things for just 5 seconds.
Can you stop? It's like, can people stop making things for 5 years so that I can catch up?
Exactly.
Just give me just a little bit of time.
I just need like 5 to 10 years to catch up, honestly. I get made fun of all the time because it's like, oh, have you seen this classic movie? And no. What? You haven't seen this classic movie? Well, it came out before I was born. What? No excuse. You should have seen this when you were 5 years old. Well, I wasn't allowed because it's rated R. Okay.
Yep.
Good. You look your counselor. All right. Have a seat. Let's think about what you just said. Meanwhile, I'm getting RoboCop for my birthday on VHS when I'm a kid.
Yeah, I definitely wasn't allowed to watch.
Oh, RoboCop.
I've never seen RoboCop.
You haven't?
Nope.
I'm not going to give you any flack for it, but
I didn't see it until.
Yeah. I was homeschooled, and I was raised in a pretty conservative household.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of a miracle that I ended up writing horror because I didn't watch most of the classic horror movies until like 4 years ago, something like that. So I just recently like started getting really into it after I watched I think it was like the first Saw movie. I finally watched that and I was like, this is what I've been missing out on? Are you kidding me? I just went nuts and I watched Silent Hill and oh my god, everything.
This is what I want.
Yes. Yeah.
Exactly.
Silent Hill's underrated, by the way.
I love that movie.
That's a great movie.
So good.
We still gotta get Sean out here to talk about Silent Hill.
As far as Saw goes, I'll tell you, Saw 2, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Between Hostel... Yeah, no, it was Saw 3. I don't know, I forget which one. Hostel broke me. Like mentally.
Yeah.
And then I almost died watching Saw 2, I think. When in Hostel, when the girl's eye falls out of her head and he cuts it off.
Yeah.
And like I nearly lost everything from my stomach. And I was I had like an ironclad stomach, but I became squeamish after that for a time. And then a few months later we went and watched Saw 2 and they like were doing like brain surgery and they showed part of the brain and I'm just like, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Look away. Look at the flowers. Look at the flowers.
Oh god.
And,
See that maybe that's why horror is my brand because I actually do watch just brain surgeries and stuff on YouTube for fun. And I always disassociate myself from the special effects and stuff in movies.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, well, it's fake, you know.
Yep.
But the needle pit really, really messed me up.
Yeah, the needle pit was brutal when he's reaching down in there. It's just, yeah, but
I hear that's a common. I hear that one a lot. That's a common one.
Yeah.
For that one.
Yeah. And then I saw how they did it. I watched a special feature on it because I'm like, I can't live in a world where I think that this is a thing that exists. So I looked up how they did it and it made me feel a lot better. Turns out they use like little fiber optic like strings or whatever, like in those lights where it's like fiber optic lights. They use those. And then the needles that are like stuck in her arm are just kind of fake and obviously, but it's just, it made me feel a lot better to know that they weren't just needles.
Yeah. Yeah, it took a while for me to come back from that. A lot better now. Still don't like eye stuff.
Yeah.
Like seeing stuff poke eye. Now, Gunnar Larson from Aphotic Realm, friend from, anyway, he drew a piece that's doing something, I can't look at it for very long. It's basically poking an eye and post it. And the rascal, to put it nicely, keeps tagging me on it. Torturing me. And I'm just like, nope. Can't do it.
Yeah.
I like your art, dude. I just don't like this. Don't like eyeballs.
He's trying to help you get over your fear of eyeballs.
Well, I mean, I'll eventually be able to look at it, but I would rather. Well, I would probably
request that he draws your face in a real close up of your eyeball.
He would probably do it too.
Could you do this for me? Really make me happy.
I'm sad now.
No, don't be sad.
No, I digress. Enough eyeballs.
Don't pull back on the fluid. That's it.
Make sure it's runny.
Make it really gelatinous. There it is. Good.
So anyway.
Moving on. It's not a tumor.
This whole episode is about digressing.
It is. Yeah, boy. Anyway. Augie, what do you have? Do you have anything else other than your Choose Your Own Adventure coming up you want to plug?
I'm going to be doing this pretty exciting thing with my next couple of Features Week episodes. So like I said before, my Features Week episodes come out on Saturdays, the first Saturday of every month, on my podcast. And since this February 6th is going to be the first podiversary ever that I've celebrated. I've been doing this for a year now. I'm also celebrating a year of doing Features Week, which is like featuring those artists. So for the next 2 months, the next first Saturday of the next 2 months, it's going to be a mega episode of kind of a Where Are They Now with creators that I featured before. So I'm going to go back and ask everybody, what have you done since your interview? Do you have anything cool coming up? Do you want me to promote anything? Do you have anyone to shout out? Yada, yada, that kind of thing. And I'm just getting all kinds of people coming at me with answers to these questions. I really didn't anticipate that because, you know, you're on this tiny blog once and maybe you get a follower or two from it. And it's not like your big break or anything, but it, you know, gives you a little bit of exposure because the whole goal of Features Week was for me to kind of show everyone else the cool people that I was meeting on Twitter. Mm-hmm. And then I realized that people were like using the interview that I posted of them as like part of how they were promoting themselves. So it evolved kind of from me telling other people about the cool people I know to giving people a kind of a credible source that other people can look at to say, oh, this is an established creator. This is somebody who has a little bit of clout, even if it's not like hundreds of thousands of followers. It's somebody who is important enough to be on this blog. And I feel like all of the indie creators that I know deserve to be on a blog, even if it's just a couple of questions, you know? So I'm really excited to look over the answers and make my podcast episode talking about where everybody I've interviewed a year ago is now, and if they're still creating, and if they're not creating the same kind of content, what are they doing now? Maybe they came out of it for some kind of reason, but they're still trying to make something of themselves, you know, something like that. So I'm really excited for that. And part 1's going to be February 9th. I think part 2 is March 9th. Yeah, February, March. Yeah. So yeah, that's a really exciting thing coming out. And
that sounds awesome.
Yeah, I'm stoked. Another thing, I think I'm going to try and work on a novel this year, but I can't guarantee it's going to be out by the end of this year. I've been writing the same novel for like 7 years. It's a dystopian fiction story in which the date of your death is chosen when you're born. But rather than that being the central theme of the story, it's just kind of multiple POV chapters of each character kind of living in the world where that is normal. And then the leader of their world dies, and then the power is shifted to somebody else who's less experienced and maybe has some mysterious backgrounds that people don't necessarily trust. So it's kind of a shift in power story where also people are running for their literal lives because some people have the date of their death that has expired and they've like outrun the thugs that come for them when they are supposed to die and yada yada. It's this really cool story that I came up with in college, and I've been writing it ever since. And I wrote the first draft, and then I plotted out the entire thing, and now I just have to write the second draft.
Nice.
But it's overwhelming.
It sounds like you're on your way.
Yeah, hopefully. So far, I just have a couple of short story collections out, but it's not like novels, you know. So.
Yeah, those are available on Amazon. I got my copy.
Yeah. Bo got a signed copy.
I got a signed copy.
Yeah.
And a sticker.
Yeah. Those are brand new stickers, too. I just got them.
Those are sweet stickers, by the way, too.
Shout out
some high quality.
Shout out to Leanie Does Not Pop on Instagram, who designed those stickers. She is amazing. And Sticker Mule for having an awesome sale. Right now they have a sale going on. I don't know if it'll still be going on when this episode comes out, but they're having a sale on 10 3-inch stickers for $1. So do that. Because stickers are important in the podcasting world.
Yeah.
I found. Yeah. And if anyone listening wants a signed copy of any of my books, you can just let me know. Usually it's cheaper to get a signed copy than an actual copy. So, yep.
Awesome. Well, we'll have all the links to all your stuff down below in the description. So check those out. And for now, I've been Dustin.
I've been Bud.
And I've been Augie.
Have a good one.
Later, guys.
See ya.
Thank you, Augie.
No problem. Thanks for having me.